basically loving yourself once again, going back things that you pushed away, that you wanted to keep in the darkness, all of your traumas, into your divinity. You're always looking outside of yourself. Your divine self will eventually reveal itself to you. I promise you, it will reveal it. Hi guys, it's Gerry. So welcome back to the channel. And it just started raining, so I know that's my cue to start the video, so I'm gonna start the video. And today we are gonna be talking about shadow work. Why am I talking about shadow work? It's because the earth is going through a big purge right now, okay? And all of us can feel it. We're all feeling the ascension symptoms. We're all feeling this surge of energy. There's comets that are hitting the earth. There's meteors that are hitting the earth. And I explained in the other video, the veil and the firmament that has been over the earth is getting thinner, it's being destroyed. All of the illusions that we have been used to on this 3D plane are dissolving, and we're going to be seeing a lot of crazier things as what happens during a purge. So I wanted to talk about this book because whoever is doing shadow work needs a little bit of help from people, from gurus, from enlightened beings on this planet, and it's really necessary for you to feel their energy, to feel their presence, because that is going to affect you. You basically loving yourself once again, going back and looking at your shadows, looking at all of the things that you pushed away, that you wanted to keep in the darkness, all of your traumas, all of the parts that you don't like about yourself, or that society, your parents, or unconsciously you just picked up to not like about yourself. You are a soul, you are pure love, you are pure consciousness, and there just needs to be a little bit of work to be done so you can lift this heaviness, you can lift all of whatever you've been going through so you can move on to the present moment, because a lot of us have been living in the past, or we've been carrying around a lot of baggage, and we feel like we just have to go through life this way. We just have to carry around our baggage. So the person that I'm going to be referring to is, let's make sure that I get his name right, Swami Sir Yukteswar. Even if you just like look at his face, you just look at his face, his visage, you will feel his energy right away. Yeah, avidya, ignorance. Having the twofold power of polarity manifest as egoism, attachment, aversion, and blind tenacity. The darkening power of Maya produces egoism and blind tenacity. The polarity of Maya produces attachment, attraction, and aversion, repulsion. Egoism results from lack of discrimination between the physical body and the real self. Tenacity is a result of natural conditioning, belief in nature and her laws as final, instead of belief in the all-causative powers of the soul. Attachment means thirst for the objects of happiness. Aversion means desire for the removal of the objects of happiness. The holy science. Okay, so just listening to that quote, we all can feel, we all can see clearly that a lot of us are dealing with illusions, we're dealing with attachments, we're dealing with aversions, we're dealing with the ego, and nobody ever told us how to manage the ego, because most people, if you look at them or you talk to them, they are the embodiment of this ego. The ego is just controlling. is just controlling the completeness of who they are. And dealing with the ego, understanding what the ego is very important because egoistic actions are based on delusion. So just doing something to feed your ego, to feed this character that you think you are. So one example would probably be, oh, I'm going to become a PhD student and I'm going to get a bunch of accolades and I'm going to go to school for another, I don't know, 5 or 6 years so I can have a title and I'm going to make the people around me proud. And all of these actions are not based on the soul. These are not things that this person necessarily wants to do, but they want to put up a sparkly star on their wall. They want it on their forehead saying, oh, hey, look how great I am. Look at what society says about me. And all of this is based on delusion. Okay, there's not a lot of credibility in what they're doing. And honestly, their academia doesn't really exist unless you are doing it on your own terms and you're going into the occult and the revision type of literature. Okay, another thing that Yukteswar talks about is the dark state of the heart. The dark state of the heart. A lot of people are living with a lot of darkness in their heart. Okay, this is what is weighing heavy on their hearts. So, Thoth, if we know from the Egyptian gods, from the American god, he is the one that weighs your heart, okay, on the scales. And your heart should be light as a feather. You should not be carrying baggage. You should not be carrying judgments about yourself. You should not be carrying preconceptions about the world and yourself, okay? So this is what people are dealing with. And again, the Vedic word avidya, I hope I'm saying it right, avidya, is ignorance, okay? And we are in the Kali Yuga. So naturally, when you're in a Kali Yuga, people are going to be in a state of ignorance. They're not going to know the God self. It's going to be very, very much harder, vastly harder for people to know the God self, to understand what it means to be outside of your body, to feel your soul, to feel the lightness of your heart. And Yukteswar goes on to basically say that there are 3 types of people. There might be more, but I just saw 3 in the book. So the first man is called the Sudra. The Sudra man is the lower caste, okay? This man is stuck in the matrix. He only knows the physical world, so he only thinks, oh, I'm not really sure if the soul exists, but I just need to work hard and I need to have a lot of tenacity to keep up my illusions, to keep up my image of myself, to make other people happy. I need to always think in my mind how I can complete this image and only do things in the physical world, not do any work inside of themselves or get to know who they are on the inside. Okay, the next type of man or woman is the Kshatriya. It is the warrior caste, okay? This is when the woman or the man is trying to learn about the true nature of the universe. Okay, they're becoming curious. Because when you're stuck in the matrix, when you're stuck in La La Land, a lot of people lose their imagination. They lose their curiosity. They're not asking questions. They're just going along to get along. They're just believing in the narrative that was given to them. Okay? They're believing whatever is written in the history books. They're believing whatever somebody else told them. They're believing what the preacher told them. Okay? The warrior caste is there and he wants to learn. He's ready to clear the doubts about himself and what he's seeing around him. And he is always going to be trying to seek truth. So if you're watching this video, you also are trying to seek some sort of truth. You're also trying to purge that darkness from your heart. You're trying to purge your body, your mind, okay? And they will fight for this justice. They're going to fight for this justice of truth, okay? And they have begun to have awakened, okay? They're using the faculties of God. The faculties of God are your imagination, always being curious, always questioning what is going on in the world, starting to see the patterns, okay? Starting to see the patterns and the weird narratives and the weird things that humans just do, like they're farm animals. They're just going along to get along, doing whatever they want to do or what somebody else told them to do. Okay, the next type of person is Sandhi. I'm not going to be able to say this, but I'm going to try. Sandhisthala. Okay? This is the place between higher and lower. So, higher and lower, this is where this person resides. Okay, this person is also anxious for real knowledge. They are not just going to be appeased with whatever the television told them, whatever social media told them. They're not going to just be a robot, be a Mr. Anderson and do what everybody else is doing, just work a 9 to 5 job, whatever. They also are going to be more likely to help others, to have mutual love, to have actual sympathy or empathy for others. And they are also going to try to seek salvation for their hearts. So if they need to do shadow work, they're going to do shadow work because that is what is needed. Okay, and the next type of person that Yukteswar talks about is the Satguru. So in Vedic traditions in India, they always are seeking for a guru, for a savior, okay? They're always going to find someone that can transmit and can mirror that holiness, that pure love, that is going to shine back to them their true divinity. So we are leaving the Kali Yuga, so there's not necessarily a need for external gurus. There's not a necessary need for saviors outside of yourself because the true savior is always you, has always been inside of you. And this is who you truly are. And very soon, there will be no need for us to look up to preachers, to holy people, saviors, gurus, because you will become that yourself. You will become the God on earth. Okay, the next term that I wanted to mention to you guys, and I think this is the final, pretty much the final stage, if anybody reaches it in their lifetime, is Sushumadwara, the door of the internal sphere, moving towards the divinity, the creator. So, everybody has been telling you to look on the outside, but when you start to look and you open the door of your heart, you look inside of yourself, you close your eyes, and you try to discover what is inside of me, what is going on in the inside world, your divine self will eventually reveal itself to you. I promise you, it will reveal it if you can be in silence and you can start to feel and recognize that pure love energy, your true divinity inside. One of the indicators that the universe gives us is the stars above. As above, so below. As above, so below. A lot of us have not learned to look up at the stars to learn more about ourselves. In astrology is basically a science that has been oppressed And it should not be, because you will start to learn more about your divine self, your true God self. And I'm going to be talking about the Vedic astrology, because for me, I resonate with it a lot more. And the 13 zodiacs represent, or just the number 13 represents the divine feminine and the god mother. So I'm going to be talking about the 13 zodiacs, the Vedic astrology, and the number one indication of your purpose, of what is going to fulfill you in your life, is your north node. Your north node. Okay? In Vedic or in Hindu, I hope it's Hindu, it is called Rahu. Okay? It will show you what your fulfillment and purpose is in your life. Okay? Just knowing your north node, even if you look up the Western astrology, you do a search on Google and you calculate what your north node is, it is going to tell you what you are going towards in life. Your north node is something that you will always be drawn towards. You will be drawn towards it, and you will most likely not be fulfilled in life if you do not go towards it. It is your compass. It will tell you this is why you're here on Earth. And the south node are things that you have already learned in the past. Okay? In Vedic, it is called Ketu. Okay? And it is what has already left the horizon. Okay? It is the dragon's tail. It is what you have already learned in past lives. So you don't want to regress. You don't want to go back and learn the same lessons. You don't want to have the same experiences over and over again, because you're going to be stuck in a cycle and you're going to feel like shit. You're literally going to be feeling like shit. So you need to recognize what you've already done. You need to learn from your mistakes. And I'm just going to give you guys a quick example of one north node and one south node. So if your north node or your Rahu is in Libra and your south node or your Ketu is in Aries, your north node is in Libra, so that means that you want to balance relationships. You're going to want to be with groups of people. You're going to most likely be a leader, but you also need to balance that your own individuality while you are balancing the relationships and the communication with other people. So that is the north node of Libra. And if your south node or your Ketu is in Aries, that means that Aries is all about being your own leader. So your south node means basically that you will have a great urge to be a leader. You will be taking your own course of action. You will be the one that naturally just naturally is the leader, because you've already learned that in your past lives. Okay, so this section of the shadow work is traumatic release somatic therapies. Okay, a lot of us don't realize that we are energetic beings. We are energy. We are just pure energy. We are not really this material. We are not this flesh. Even though it might feel really condensed, it might really feel really dense, we are just pure energy. And if I took a camera and I went through all of your atoms, 99.9% of it is space. So that means you are just basically energy. And a lot of people, they try to release their trauma through the mind, okay? Through the mind, they just stay in the mind, or they just stick to one modality. But if you're an energetic being, that means you need to release energy doing energetic movements or doing some sort of energy work. That is the only way that you can release any trauma or any shadows from yourself. So the first exercise that I want to give to you guys is the eye movement exercise. Okay, and this is accredited to neurolinguists. This is accredited to neurolinguist Andy Austin, integral eye movement therapy. And this is a modified exercise, but first you're going to imagine what brings you anxiety. Okay? Where is the feeling in your body? Then you ask yourself, when do I remember feeling this feeling? A specific memory should be conjured. As you hold this memory in your mind, you will move your eyes side to side. Move it left and then move it right. Remember the memory as you move your eyes. Keep thinking of the memory. Move your eyes back and forth. Then as you think of the memory, move your eyes diagonally. One more, as you think of the memory, move your eyes in the opposite diagonal. Finally, notice what changes after thinking of the memory. Most likely, this traumatic memory will become fuzzy as you have created more space and more distance. Okay, so this therapy is done by top doctors, okay? And it is basically moving your eye laterally, and it is done on a laboratory scale. It's done in healthcare, but you can do it in your own home. If you have some sort of dense memory, you have some sort of trauma that you really want to release, just doing this will help extremely. Trust me, it will help extremely. Another thing that you can do that's really similar is just going on a walk. If you live by nature and there's not a lot of distractions, then you can go on a walk, and while you're walking, just notice the landscape and just notice that everything seems to blur together and you're just going on a walk and your eyes are moving as you're walking. You're just noticing the same images over and over and over again. You're just passing by the same trees. Everything looks the same. The trees look the same. Everything looks the same. Tree, 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 rock, rock, rock. And this will also bring a sense of presence. This will also bring you back to releasing your energy, bring you back to your true self once again, because whatever memory, whatever dense traumatic thing wants to come up inside of your body, if you can release it out in nature, if you can release it with a healing, grounded walk in nature, that will also help as well. Okay, the last exercise I wanted to give you guys is really simple, but it is very effective, especially if you have a monkey mind. Like your mind is going 500 miles per hour and you're just thinking about all of the worst possibilities every day. You're thinking, I'm just a piece of shit. I'm not worth anything, which is not true. But the tapping exercise is basically where you tap different parts of your body. And it's going to help a lot if you're closing your eyes and you're just going to tap. Give yourself a massage, tap your head, start with your head and go down to your neck, your shoulders, and other parts of your body. And what this is doing is this is helping you to become more present, more stable. And after a few minutes, you will notice that you are going to become more stable. You're going to become more clear in your thoughts. All of that barrage and cloudiness of thoughts is just going to go away. Okay, so shadow work means that you need to go back to your childhood. You need to go back to the child self. A lot of us don't want to admit that things did happen to us in childhood, whether it was something super tragic, we don't want to remember it. It's maybe little unconscious things that triggered us during childhood, but we have brought it all the way to the present self. So, when you're thinking about your child self, one thing that is really super effective to do is to visualize, and you're going to have a conversation with your child self, and you're going to ask him or you're going to ask her, what is he upset about? Okay? And you're going to have a dialogue with your child self. What is your child self telling you? What are the things that they're upset about? What are things that you haven't thought about in years that they're telling you about? And as the present self, you're going to talk to your child self and let them know that everything is okay now. You can release whatever that person did to you, whatever the bullies did to you at school. It is time to be released. And it is okay for you to forgive. It is okay because it doesn't matter how guilty maybe a group of people were. It doesn't matter um if justice was never brought. You deserve to feel light. Again, you deserve to feel your own divinity, and you cannot do that unless you decide to release that memory, unless you decide to give up that part of your life. The child self wants to be acknowledged. The child self wants you to go back and speak to him, to her, to understand what happened during that time. This doesn't necessarily mean that you need to recall every single memory where somebody did you wrong. This doesn't necessarily mean that you need to just go back to every single little detail that you didn't like, but you do need to have a conversation with your child self. So you need to say to them, everything is okay now. This is who you are now, and it is okay to forgive. It is okay to forgive that person or that circumstance or whatever triggered you as a child. Okay? And as you continue to do this, maybe it might be a lot of conversations because your child self is just going to come to you crying, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they were talking shit about me at school. I can't believe my mom did this to me. Like, I don't like her. Like, you as the present self are going to speak to your child self and you're going to heal them. And again, visualization is super powerful. This is the God power because your mind does not know the difference between what is basically in your mind and what is seen in the outside world because technically everything is mental, everything is energy. And yeah, the next part of shadow work that everybody should be doing is evaluating their present self. Evaluating, what do I not like about myself? What are the things that I hid away? What are the judgments I have about myself? What are the judgments I have on other people? Doing an entire evaluation on how your body feels, how your mind acts, how your mind reacts to the world. Going to the parts of yourself that you don't like. You don't like that you're addicted to your phone. You don't like that you're attracted to, I don't know, scumbag guys. I don't like that I'm attracted to these types of people that don't offer me any sort of vitality or any sort of vigor in my life. So, taking inventory of the present self, realizing that there are a lot of habits. There are a lot of habits that manifest on the outside world because it is just telling the world what is going on inside of you. So there's this one video of one of Carl Jung's patients, and she admits in the video, basically, is like, why are all the people around me assholes? And then Carl Jung told her, is like, maybe you're the asshole. Maybe you're the person that's doing all this stupid shit. And you're the one that's causing so much negativity. And people are just basically reflecting that back to you. So these are things that you need to admit to yourself. You need to admit to yourself probably a lot of things like, okay, I am very negative. I cannot control my mind. I don't know how to meditate. So that basically means your mind is very unclean because you cannot be in silence. There always has to be some sort of stimulation. There always has to be someone on the outside world that's giving you some sort of reward. There's always needs to be some sort of dopamine rush. There always needs to be some sort of compensation. And that's not how your soul works. Your soul is already fully compensated. Your soul is already fully energized, and you're not tapping into your soul. You're not tapping into your divinity. You're always looking outside of yourself. You probably thinking that I'm just this physical body. If you haven't really navigated what's going on in the inside, you haven't been in the darker parts of yourself. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about dealing with shadow work is it helps a lot if you basically imagine and you visualize what does my future self look like? How does my future self act? What are the thoughts that are going on in my future self's minds, and what are they doing on a daily basis? So that would be the external part, and on the internal part, you want to basically visualize or write down how do they feel every day? Are they content with their lives? Do they truly love themselves? Are they truly a part of spirituality? Have they moved on from being the lower caste of humanity, and have they reached some sort of God likeness because they have control of their inner world? They're no longer carrying baggage around. They're no longer pointing fingers at other people unconsciously. They're no longer just saying, oh, the world has just gone to shit. You know, the world is just done for. And I'm just a part of this, shit ride, this shit roller coaster ride. That is basically, if you're saying any of these things, that is just basically giving your power to the outside world. And you're basically not tapping into your divinity, like I said. And all of this combined, if you can go to the child self, you can start healing the child self. You can start evaluating the present self, and you can start imagining, you can start creating who you want to be in the present, in the future self of you. Then this is where you take your power back, and you no longer need gurus, you no longer need to go to a therapist. You can control this all yourself. Okay, guys, I hope this helped a lot. I just wanted to mention that I actually wrote a shadow workbook. It's called Divulge the Shadow. And I'm going to link it down below in this video. This workbook or this journal is completely free. If you click on the link and you follow it, you can check it out and see if you like it. There's plenty of space to write, and there's plenty of questions. Everything was written by myself. Nothing was written by AI. And this is what has been working for me. This is what has been working for my boyfriends. And it has all of the things that I mentioned in this video. It has the Vedic astrology, and it also has the somatic therapies, a lot more therapies that you can use that are totally free that you can do in your house if you need to release any traumatic or dense energies from your body. And it also has journaling for your child self. It has journaling for your present self. it has journaling for your future self. So you can journal for 91 days. And each day there are 2 questions. You can choose one question. And if you want to go back and you want to journal again, then that means there's a total of 182 days worth. And if you just journal every single day, whether it's free writing or you're just doing a morning page, your morning pages, it will truly help to divulge your shadow. It will help you to realize things about yourself that you didn't want to recognize. I also wanted to mention that you can donate even though the Shadow Workbook is for free. If you feel gratitude in your heart, you want to show some sort of support, you can also leave a donation. It could be for any amount. I'm not doing it for money, but I know how the universe works is that there needs to be an avenue, there needs to be a flow of reciprocity. So if you feel any sort of gratitude or if you feel like the shadow workbook is really working for you, please donate if you feel it in your heart. I'm not asking for donations particularly, but I just wanted to mention that if anybody feels like they would like to show gratitude and have some sort of reciprocity for what I provided. So yeah, guys, that's it for the video. Please share, please like, please subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you guys think.